Surprise. I'm here, still here, if you can believe it. I haven't posted a lot of things lately, but I tell you what, life comes at you fast sometimes. And just thought I'd try to connect here today, go live, and just kind of give you all an update on what's going on and with me, what's going on with the channel. All right, see you guys coming in, Max and Motorhead first. Yay. Hey, brother, welcome back. I appreciate it, Max. I tell you, life comes at you hard and fast. What's up, Gil 69? I can't remember. I know your real name. I can't remember right off. But yeah, I just want to get on here and kind of talk with you guys and let you know what's up with me, what's up with the channel, and yeah, I miss you too, Billy. The family's doing pretty good, all in all. But yeah, that's kind of why I want to get on here, check in with you guys, and okay, Gil, perfect. Yeah, we spoke. That's right. That is correct, my friend. I knew you. Paul, how you doing, brother? Yeah, so I'll let a few of you guys get in here, and I'll get into the nuts and bolts of it. But as far as politically goes in this time, boy, nothing looks good to me. It's pretty depressing, and it's hard to stay motivated fighting a fight that you feel like is just straight uphill and can't change anything. Yeah, L, where have I been? I mean, that's it. I've been busy. I've been working hard. I've been, we moved, which moving by itself is a lot, right? Then starting a new job, that's a lot. And then in the summer, my mother got sick and passed away, and that had a lot to do. We're still dealing with some of the ramifications of that. And then my younger brother has Huntington's disease, and he's been put in. He's now living in a an old folks home, if you want to call it that. A weird thing kind of has been happening is my wife and my son are both catching colds, like cycling over and over again. We've had about 9 colds as a family here in about 9 months. So it's about once a month we're getting a cold, and it didn't start until kind of after August or so, around August, and it's just cycling through. I don't know if anybody else is having this kind of thing happen, but my wife will say like, "Oh, I'm getting over this cold," and then 2 days later, my throat's hurting again, and then before you know it, she's in full on having a cold again, and I think it might have something to do with all of the social distancing and the shutting down, because we were in California and we weren't allowed to be around anybody and that kind of stuff. I wonder if that has something to do with it, or if COVID just screwed us up, period. If this lab created thing is doing something to our bodies. But yeah, so we've been sick a lot. I told you my mom passed, my brother's sick, starting a new job, moving to Boise or the Boise area. And my dog died, and it just seems like little things too. The lease went out on the car, and we got to figure out what we're going to do there. And it's just been one thing after another, on and on and on. No, Max, I'm in Idaho, and it's cold up here. It's probably 28 right now. It's not so bad. You acclimate to that pretty quickly. I grew up in Kentucky, and it was, well, Hope, I hate to hear that. Your dog died too. I hate to hear that. But yeah, 2022 was tough. And then, trying to keep this channel going, it takes a lot of energy, and just raising 2 kids. I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and that's there's a lot of energy being spent trying to be a good father and do all the things you're supposed to do. And yeah, so it's been a tough, but I plan on getting back in the swing of things, hopefully sometime soon, where I start putting out a video a week or something like that. Colds seem to cycle through families. Also, stress of life, Jason. Acclimating to new climates, bringing on the colds too. Sorry about your mom, bro. Yeah, and bro. Thanks, Ann. Yeah, I've heard some friends in California are kind of going through the same thing about the colds and stuff. 3 degrees in Denver. That sounds like a good time. But I am working on something right now. I'm working on something that's not political. Not that I'm taking this channel to not be political, but I want to do a few things that aren't political necessarily. And I'm working on something. Hopefully, maybe I can get it released next month sometime. But it's humorous and fun, and I hope you guys like it, and we'll share it. But I definitely want to get back into talking about what's going on in the world and everything. And I was talking with a wife last night, and we were talking about how Washington works a little bit, and all the leaks that are going, that go on when Trump was president, but not as many leaks now. They even hide stuff now, and just how corrupt the whole system is. But nobody's leaked the Epstein list, right? And that really tells you where we are. There's no one's leaking that. And sorry, Leaf, I hope I'm not allergic to Idaho. No. We like Idaho. My wife really likes it here. We think it was a great decision to move here. One of the things my wife said when we first kind of got here was, I feel like I'm around regular people again. And I think there's something to be said for that. The people I work with, they're regular people. The people we meet, they're just normal, regular people. And it's really refreshing. You can say sir and ma'am, and no one's going to look at you funny like in California. You're going to misgender somebody these days. And even said, an acquaintance of my wife, she used to work with a lady, and we just found out that both of her kids are now transgendered. And it's like, good parenting. I'm sure it's not good parenting, but it's the school system's really pushing that kind of nonsense. And so, yeah, we're glad to get out of there. And we really like Idaho. We really, really do. But yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? I got a few minutes here. Like I said, it was just really to get on here to update you guys and say hi. We're going to go, my son's going to be up in a few minutes, and I'll have to go get him and do the fatherly thing on this Sunday. And I think might try to go out to have early dinner tonight. We've been having dinner around 5. As I get older, it starts to get sooner and sooner and sooner, which is kind of funny. But what's big right now? I'll tell you what I'd like to talk about for a second is Pfizer, right? That head of research and development, I think it was. I can't remember his name, but he was caught by Project Veritas. That if there's not investigations into Pfizer after that undercover video, you know what I mean? The guy, what did he say? I think his words were, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But the guy was talking about mutating COVID so that they could go ahead and get, the next vaccine ready. And then when that mutation gets around, Pfizer will be ready, and then they'll be able to make boatloads of more money. And he didn't call it gain of function because gain of function is illegal. He called it, what did he call it? Controlled evolution. Was it something like that? Controlled evolution, directed evolution. I think maybe that's what it was. And that's just to get around like, oh, we're not doing gain of function. He even talked about, we'll see how the experiments goes if they're already experimenting on monkeys and everything. Like, those people should be held accountable. And the fact that the guy just can mention it like, oh, we talked about that in a meeting. The fact that they're considering that, or they started working on it, that is some crazy, crazy stuff that if the government wasn't so corrupt and on the payroll, they would see that video and bring them to justice. But what will happen, and always happens, is James O'Keefe gets blamed for taking something out of context. And if you've ever watched any of his videos, the context is clear. There is nothing taken out of context, right? But on the flip side of that, context means nothing anymore either, right? You can get in trouble and lose your job for saying the wrong word, and not in a way that you're trying to hurt somebody's feelings, but in a way that you just say like, I always hated this word. And then, oh, you can't say that. You're a white guy. Oh my gosh, how dare you? We got to take your job and ruin your whole life. So context means nothing, but it's always out of context when they get caught. But when anybody else says something they want to hurt, context. So what do you mean context? It has nothing to do with it. He said this word, that's it. He said that, that's it. Comes a horseman. Glad to see you again. So sorry about your mom. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Drumming fool. Dude, been missing you. Glad to see you again. You too, drumming fool. I actually took my drums out the other day and drummed a little bit. But my kick leg, my right leg got so tired so fast. I couldn't hang on that quickly for that long. I'm out of shape, and I'm just tired and working so hard, and creating a new life. I'll tell you, I learned something. Not that they still shouldn't do it, but I used to criticize hard single mothers and say, you're living in this ghetto or you're living in this trailer park. You should do everything you can to get out and go somewhere else. I have a decent job, sold a house that made a little bit of money. My wife has a good career. She's not working presently in the last few years, but she's not working presently. And moving is difficult. It's very hard to get up and start a new life, even if your old life is, crappy and whatever. But a single mom that may work a low paying job or may not have a job and live on assistance, moving and taking your kid to another area, to a safer area, it's a pretty tough thing to do. But it's necessary for them to do it. But I used to be more critical, I think, and I'd say I'm less critical. Ruby, all right. Happy New Year, Jason and family. Where can we see this article or video where they are making these statements? Oh, controlled evolution. I'll you know what? I'll look it up on my phone right here. But it's Project Veritas is always the ones doing it. I know on Breitbart they had. You know what? If you go to Breitbart and you search on Breitbart for Project Veritas or Pfizer Project Veritas, you'll definitely find it. Hey, Sad Ron. I guess that's how you say it. You're here. YouTube pulled it down. I don't doubt YouTube pulled it down. You're going to have to see it somewhere else. You're going to have to go to Project Veritas's website, something like that. But it's unbelievable that video can go around, and YouTube will take it down, and they'll protect Pfizer, and they'll attack James O'Keefe, and but he should be on every news program in the United States. Every major news network should have him going like, listen, look at this footage we got. Look at what we got. It would be, but if it was Elon, if it was a hidden video of Elon Musk's new hire at Twitter, and he was saying something like, oh, we're going to stop the woke agenda, blah, blah, blah. Like that would be all over the news, and people would say, oh, how dare them do all this kind of stuff. But yeah, directed evolution. That's what he said. Okay, good. Tucker Carlson, but not many people watching network news really anyway. Is that right? I think they're down to 300,000 or 400,000 a night, which used to be over 1 million all the time. Oh, this is an update too. So I've canceled. I don't know how many of you were doing some kind of recurring donation or anything like that, but I've canceled that page because that donation page, because it was still connected with me and Dave, and me and Dave don't need to be connected any longer. And so, and plus we had slowed way down. Both of us had slowed down and hadn't been making content as much as we had. So I just felt it was time to do that. And when I get it going again, I'm going to get something up there for you, those of you who can support me or want to support me. Obviously you don't ever feel like you have to do that, but there's still always a PayPal link at the videos. But yeah, I canceled that page, and you can't buy any Blue Collar Logic merchandise or any of that stuff. That's all canceled as well, because that was all stuff I did. But yeah, me and Dave are completely separated now at this point. Thanks, Lauber. On that note, what the hell happened with Dave? I don't know what happened with Dave. Yeah, it's really not my place to discuss. Maybe one day we can get deeper into it, but I think he's trying to do music, and he views the world differently than I do, and yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. But what else is going on? What do you guys think is the big story right now? They tried to make a big story out of the speakership and how many times it took to vote and everything, but that went away quickly, and I knew it would, because it's just government doing what it's supposed to do, and that was a nothing story. More money to Ukraine, Max. That is so much. We're going to send tanks now, right? Is that what Biden wants to do? They're about to make this. It's like they're trying hard to make this a war between Russia and the rest of the world, or Russia and NATO, or Russia and whoever. And it doesn't seem like it's something that we should be trying to get into. I mean, especially when we don't want to dig our own oil, maybe this is brought on by those, globalist types that are trying to destroy the oil market and whatever. So you fight Russia, so they're going to destroy the oil. They're not going to send it to anybody, and so on, or they're going to try not to. They'll eventually will. And then we're not going to dig it. And we're just going to have the Saudis, and the Middle East supply it for everybody at a real high price until something better comes along. And, but that's just going to lead us further down the road of more debt. And I think there's some kind of crash coming, and how big is it going to be? I don't know, but I feel like it's coming. Sorry, some of these messages go by so fast. I don't get to see them because I'm talking. What about Republicans in the House trying to push a 30% sales tax to replace the income tax? I've always been a big fan of just a national sales tax. I don't know about 30%. I've never narrowed it down to what I like, but John, I like this. I like this subject. If it's just a sales tax, then you can save your money, and it's your money, right? That's it. With it being income tax, they tax it, they take it away from you before you even get it if you work a regular job or whatever, right? So the idea of the sales tax is, if you don't use it, you save it. If you're needing to save it up for something, or to pass down to your kids, or whatever it might be, why is it the government's money, right? If you're not driving to the store and buying stuff, you're probably not using the roads much. You're probably, taken less away. I mean, you're going to be paying taxes on your water bill and, you know, things like that, and you buy a car, that's a 30, if you buy a $10,000 car, I mean, what's that? Then it's a $13,000 car. $3,000 goes to the government. You get the car. Now you've paid $3,000 to drive this $10,000 car around the roads. And then that's not even including local and state taxes. But I think that's I'm probably good with 30%, but I'd have to probably think a little bit more about it. I mean, it's way too high. You're right. I just saw Max. 30% is way too high, but it's going to have to be significant, or no one would ever go, no politician or Washington would never go for it. We'd have to go at a certain point. It'd have to be a higher start, and then we'd have to work on getting it lower. I don't think you could come out and say, well, I think we should just do a 8% sales tax nationally, and that's it. No income tax. No one's gonna in Washington would ever go for that, unless they thought they're going to make a lot of money, and they're going to think, no, we're not going to make a lot of money. That's kind of how I view it. But yeah, 30% is too high, but a national sales tax is definitely something I would prefer over income tax, and also minimizing all the other taxes. It's such a bunch of crap. They find every which way to add a fee or a tax onto us. Is such a tax a ruse to train behavior and get people to stop using cars, Ruby? I doubt it. I mean, we're paying taxes on gasoline right now that, the government makes more money on a gallon of gasoline than does the oil company or does the gas station. So I doubt that's what that is. If you're poor, you don't pay income tax, but have to pay sales tax on everything. Have to spend your entire income every month on tax. So tax on it all. Yeah, poor people would get taxed, and I'm sure. I mean, we tax Social Security now, which is, I think Biden was in on that deal back in the day, which is doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh, here's $500, but we need 50 of it back, or whatever they're doing. Let's see, Lloyd Braun, were you on? Is that a Seinfeld reference? Lloyd Braun, the fair tax, you get a rebate from the government for the basic cost of food items by region. Then everything is taxed. Too detailed to go into here. Check out the fair tax. Sounds nice. Let's see. Yeah, Gil, actually taxes could be a violent crime. It could be. I mean, they'll threaten you with imprisonment if you don't pay them. Understand that the income tax in the constitutional amendment, so they would have to revoke that amendment with tax, which takes 75. Yeah, that's a good point, which is something we need anyway, a convention of the states. It's definitely something we need. Yeah, I think you're right in vino veritas. Academic discussion, because nothing will change except taxes will increase as long as potato SH head is in office. I'm a poor person. We feel taxation. Oh, do we feel it? Yeah, I hear you. Everybody feels it. Abolish the IRS. I'd love to do that. Oh, it is a Seinfeld reference. Lloyd Braun. Seinfeld, boy, that show, they did something special in that show. The black market is booming right now. Yeah, it's going to get worse too. I was talking to somebody at work who had a meeting with some builders, and here in just this area, which this area was booming. When I moved here, this area was booming. Houses were going up left and right, and now it's 70% down. New homes built 70% down. Now that'll keep the market artificially high, not flooding the market with houses, but it's a real signal that some stuff I think is coming down the pike. Yeah. Are eggs suddenly made of gold? Um, yeah, they are. Apparently they are. I had some eggs had some eggs this morning. I thought about going out to eat, and then I thought, no, I can do my own $45 meal at home this morning. So I made a bunch of bacon and eggs and drank orange juice. Yeah, so it cost quite a bit probably. Um, Here, somebody else said something here. People should be, this is Chauncey Stewart. Thank you for the comments, by the way, guys. People should be more concerned with tax revenue than the tax rate. Yes, that's true. And and Republicans are more so concerned with that than are the Democrats. They're stuck on rate, but the rich kind of get around all these high rates, right? While the middle and poorer people can't. Well, poor people don't really pay much tax, income tax anyway, and but the people in the middle, they're paying it all because they don't have ways to hide their income and that kind of stuff. But yeah, traditionally when you cut taxes, you get more revenue because more people have money to spend and more transactions happen and more money is created. And more investing is done, and rich people spend their money on investing things and so on. Um, the left always uses when there's a tax cut, they always say, well, that was then however much taxes were cut, that was then added to the deficit, even though they make more revenue. They still always say that, and that's the way they scare people out of it. Like, oh, we need higher taxes, we need more taxes, and so on. That's how they do it. But they don't pay those numbers, right? They're all getting rich, and they're not paying 50% of their income to the government. They're taking some of that money and they're putting it in. Oh, look at this this thing I created. It's a charity for you know chipmunks with wheelchairs, and then you're like, well, how many have you sold? It's like, oh, nothing. It's 98% of it goes to the fees of the people who work it. Just 2% go out to the chipmunks, and that's kind of how they do their money. A great example is Zuckerberg on Facebook saying, he says, 99% of my money I'm donating to charity. Yeah, but it's his charity that pays for everything he does, right? It's his. It's like the Clinton Foundation. They spent all that money on themselves, but it was the foundation's money. It wasn't their money. And so, yeah, they'll get around all this stuff while we're all picking up the tab. Yeah, we'll have national sales tax and income tax. Good times. That's probably where we're headed, which is sad but true. People are leaving Canada by the droves. Guess we picked the wrong side in 1812. The real problem with sales tax is inflation becomes a tax hike. They don't have to vote for. Expect government to boost inflation. Um, yeah, inflation is a silent tax. Look at right now. The eggs. That's a great example. Eggs cost a lot these days, and I bet less people are eating them. And I'm sure less people are eating the cage free and the ones that are supposed to be, those chickens that's supposed to have a good life and then get killed so we can eat them, or have a good life and then we get their eggs. Yeah, those are the chickens that those are the expensive chickens, and the expensive eggs. I'm kind of just rambling here. I appreciate you guys coming on here. Yeah, city tax from city to city is out of hand too. You're right. Yeah, Lisa, I talked about it a little bit earlier. We love Idaho. The only thing is that we just been getting sick a lot with colds. My wife's been sick a ton, and my son. But other than that, we like it, and we played in the snow today. It's only about an inch on the ground today. It wasn't much that snowed last night, but I took the kids out and they made snow angels and got their faces really cold. But is yeah, we like it here. We feel like we're around regular people again, and we really enjoy that. Yeah, exactly, Ruby. The chickens that got an extra 2 inches of elbow room. There's a comedian, Nate Bargatze. I don't know if you guys know Nate, but he talks about this in one of his stand-ups, and he's like, he talks about the free range chicken, and they'll have on the box or on the package his name and the stuff he liked, and he's like, I felt guilty eating a chicken. That chicken had dreams. Like I want to eat one of those chickens. Is like, is it my turn yet to go? Okay, great, thank you. And then he goes and gets his head chopped off. He doesn't want to eat the ones that had a name and a life and everything. And it's a pretty funny stand up. And Nate, you'll like Nate Bargatze too if you haven't seen him, because he's clean. He's not just dropping F bombs left and right or anything. And he's a situational comedy. He tells stories, talks about his wife and his life and that kind of stuff. And my wife's not a big comedy person, but she really enjoyed one of his stand-ups we watched the other day. That's one of those things you say, and it really was like 2 years ago. But yeah, it was the other day, we'll say. But yeah, you check him out. Yeah, Rob the Wayward Woodworker. That's tough to say. Rob the Wayward I can't even say it. Rob the Wayward Rob the Wayward Woodworker. Nate is hilarious. He is. He's from Tennessee. Talks about redneck weddings, and yeah, give him a listen if you like stand up, and you don't want to have to hear guys dropping F bombs and talking about stuff that you don't want your kids walking in and listening to. Let's see. There was a female governor in the States that said she'd welcome any Canadians if they wanted to leave. Just can't remember her name. I don't know. That could have been South Dakota. What's her name? Someone help me. South Dakota Governor. Can't think of her off the top of my head. Pretty woman. Kristi Noem. There you go. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, it could have been Kristi Noem. That's close to Canada anyway. And, South Dakota could use a few more people, I imagine. Unless you're from South Dakota, you probably don't like me saying that. My supervisor at my job was talking to me about music. He plays music, and he knows I play a little bit of music. And so he was talking to me about music, and he called me, and we're talking for a few minutes, and then he's like, "Oh, but I also have something else a bone to pick with you." I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "I heard you did a video and told everybody to move to Idaho." And I said, No. I said I was moving to Idaho, but let's be honest, the secret's out. People are escaping these high tax, high crime places for places like Idaho, and it's no secret. It's not like I'm said, "Hey, everybody, guess what? I found this place," But he was just kind of having fun with me. But yeah, it might have been Kristi Noem, or as Rob calls her, Kristi Noom. I'm just kidding. Trying to type fast. I know how it is when you're trying to chat. There you go, Chris. You think that's her? Yeah, it's probably her. So, are you headed down or what? What's the deal? South Dakota's probably like a pretty warm for you if you're from Canada. Wouldn't be so bad. I'm not going to stay on here very long today just because got stuff to do. It's just never ending. I don't blame people. I left California, Mike. I don't blame anybody who leaves. Half the time the border guys still ask about, yeah, I don't doubt it. SD needs jobs. Probably so, right? South Dakota, yeah. I mean, I think there's going to be a big job loss coming, and it's going to be, yeah. I think it's. I'm sorry, I'm reading and I'm talking at the same time. Yeah, I think there's a recession coming, and there's going to be some job loss, and things are going to get bad before they get better. And I don't know how bad it's going to get with our 31 trillion in debt. It may get really bad, and that worries me for my family and my kids. Um, Somebody wrote on here. Who was that? Let me get back up here. I'd like to leave Germany. Yeah, I don't know how you say your name. Ihotol? Oh, Ihotol? I don't know if that's German or where that's from. Um, my mother was German. I lived in Germany for 1 year, and coached and taught baseball there and stuff, which was kind of cool. But yeah, it's it's bad in Germany, and it's gonna get worse in Germany too. They're gonna get. I mean, you guys are starting up coal plants again and stuff because it's gonna get bad. And then something, because some of you guys know this, but I coached baseball and played baseball for 5 years after college, throughout Europe and different places. And I lived in Sweden 1 year, and I lived in Germany 1 year. And someone in Sweden told me, said Germany is a catastrophe because they're willing to let anybody into the country, and where Sweden wouldn't do that. I couldn't get a work visa in Sweden. In Germany, I could get a 2-year visa, no problem. And, Sweden's often looked at as a socialist place that's great. But yeah, some things have changed since then, because that was around 2002, right? And they've let a lot of people in their country, but they've had some problems too. And I'm not against immigration. I'm not saying that at all, but you can't just blindly let in all the ills of the world and think nothing's going to change for the worse. Not to mention, your bad economic policies and bad energy policies. That's just, a disaster waiting to happen. Where's Diagolone? I've never heard of that. Is this a made up place? John Gates. Sorry, let's see them Idaho winters though. Tim, it's not that bad. I mean, I think the coldest it was so far that I've driven to work was 3 degrees, and I work outside, so it was a cold day, but it's not as bad as we got. I got plenty of stuff, and leave the truck running, and keep the heat on. Go back and warm up when you need to. Let's see. I'd leave California, but I'm freezing at 64 degrees. Yeah, Gil, I wouldn't have left California probably if I didn't have kids. You almost can't beat the weather. Southern California the weather's great. I guess probably until that earthquake hits. But do you think Biden is being set up for removal this year? I don't know if he's being set up, because there's nothing needed to be set up, right? Like he's got so many problems. As far as just running the country, he's got so many problems, but just in his personal life and Hunter and all that stuff, they got so many issues. You don't have to set them up. You just have to make the case and go. But I don't think Democrats like Kamala Harris either. So I don't know. I think they're going to try to hold him out and hold him up and pretend he did a great job and pretend things have never been better. And this recession that we're going into is caused by Trump's policies. I mean, they're trying to, they openly blame Trump's policies for the border crisis right now. When his last month in office, I think there was something like 18 or 30 people who came across the border. Like, he virtually shut it down. And then now it's going crazy down there, and they say, oh, well, that was Trump's fault. But, there's no evidence at all that that's the case. And so they're going to say, oh, Biden did an amazing job with what he had to do. He had to rebuild confidence in America and blah, blah, blah. And he did a great job. And now we got this, Governor Newsom has been running California so great. There are no problems in California at all whatsoever. There's no crime. Everybody's eating. There's universal health care, and children are getting a free education and free community college. He's doing it right. He's the best that's ever been. And then they're going to try to go to the new Democrat Party, if you will. Because I don't think Kamala, when she talks, she's babbling around like she doesn't make sense. She'll say something and she'll go, yeah, after she says it, thinking that everybody else is having this moment with her, and no one is. Everybody is just going like, what are you talking about? And she just keeps doing that. So she was a mistake, I think. Maybe she helped get him elected, but I doubt it. She didn't bring much to the table. But they're going to get rid of her too, or not get rid of her. They're not going to move on with her. I don't think. So I don't think he's being set up, because there's no need to set him up. They're just going to cash in when they need to, which if they needed to, but I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to stay with him. Biden would resign, forget, and then show up in the office the next morning. That's right. Yeah, good one, SoCal Sandman. Yeah, Biden would be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I have to go. The party has let me know. And the next morning he's like, what you doing here? I'm the president. Well, he probably thinks he's the vice. He probably thinks if he resigns, he becomes the vice president. Yeah, he just turns automatically back in the vice president. Yeah, he's so lost. Hey, truth is out there. I'm live. Good to see you. Nice to see you, man. I live in rural Idaho. If you are from our state, outstate, grow a garden, raise some chickens, learn how to fish, improve your social skills. These are the survival skills. Yeah, I agree. I could go a little further away from where I'm at. Would be fine with me. Oh, Devon, thank you. Hi, Jason. Glad to see you're alive and well. I hope your daughter got over identifying as a Tyrannosaurus. Yeah, she did. She's moved on. She's doing all kind. She's really into dragons, which is kind of funny because dinosaurs are a lot like dragons, but she likes dragons a lot these days. So she plays a dragon once in a while, but I've come to realize I was wrong in that video, and she's just a kid with an imagination. But thank you. I appreciate the donation. Here, Ruby again. I do want to say that you and Dave as Blue Collar Logic at the time in our crazy culture spinning off course were a very intelligent, informative team. I'm glad you guys were there. Thanks, Ruby. I appreciate that. And I think there was a time that was the time for us, right? We were at that right moment for what we're doing, and in a way, these small videos that we do they don't even come out fast enough these days with having a real job and a family and all the stuff. Back then we were kind of keeping up on everything, but a lot of the stuff, although some of you guys have never heard of the Project Veritas video, so maybe I'm wrong. There's so much out there going on, I'm just going to keep plugging away and keep putting stuff out there, and I'm going to go back in a groove again. And because there's no doubt we got to fight for this country, or it's definitely going to be in the wrong hands. So Chauncey predicts Michelle Obama will run for president. I don't think she wants to. But that just makes me think of the Bill Burr comedy. Now, we talked about Nate Bargatze earlier. Bill Burr is obviously a little bit more crude, and he drops F-bombs kind of like crazy sometimes. But Bill Burr is talking about, when Hillary was running, people were saying, it's like she was already president before. And he's like, what? It's like saying Tom Brady, Giselle Bundchen, she was like an NFL quarterback before. Maybe she can just start playing quarterback. Like, give me a break. But yeah, so I don't know. Let's see the truth. Did you touch on Dave's prediction of Biden only less than the 2-year mark? I didn't. Somebody here had asked about it. if they're trying to get him out. Um, yeah, I think he's going to last the whole 4 years, or until he, passes away or something happens like that. Um, but yeah, that was Dave's prediction, and you know, I'll let you go on Dave's stream and ask him about it. Maybe he won't get mad at you. Let's see. The only way I would go for a flat tax is if there was a requirement to be voted on every 5 years by the voters. I would not like it if it only took the vote of the House and Senate to continue. Ted, that's a fair point. A flat tax would be nice, but having some control over it would definitely be good. You and Dave were a calming force back in the day. Appreciate it, Tim. If you want your mind blown by music, go watch High Ren by Ren. It's a piece of art. Never heard of it. I'll try to check it out. What do you think about Paul Pelosi, the break-in? I mean, that's some crazy, hippie-esque person. I don't think he was hanging out with Paul Pelosi or something like that, like some of the conspiracy stuff. I don't think that was at all the situation. I think, although the one thing that doesn't make sense is they're still, they're both holding the hammer when the door opens. Why would that guy, if he's going to attack Paul Pelosi, why would he attack, why would he wait until the door opened to do it? It kind of doesn't make sense, but. Oh crap, Dave could still be right about that. Well, if he quit today, if Biden quit today, he could be right about that. And I think you're right, Jeff. I hope he lasts all 4 years because, yeah, she's nothing. She's got nothing to bring to the table, and she's scary. Yeah, you heard my kids run by the room. I'm in my little office room, and my daughter just ran by, and my son just woke up, so no one opened the door. It's just, they're just loud. It turns out we figured out, I shouldn't tell that. Got some issues with my daughter as well. And we're going to have some medical things we got to take care of, and you guys can pray for us for that. That'd be great. But, yeah, Chauncey, why would he attack someone in front of the police? That's kind of the point, right? Like, why didn't he already have the hammer ripped away from Paul Pelosi and already did this damage? It's a weird thing, but I think he's just a lunatic. I think the guy's just crazy. I think that's what happened. It's not Donald Trump's fault, certainly, but people believe that. Some people are saying that. Right, Devon. That's what I think Dave was saying about if Biden retired, then she could serve 10 years. But I don't think Democrats want 10 years of her. I think they've figured out, dude, like what were we thinking? You know what I mean? She's no one's home upstairs. There's no way. And there could be a good side to that. Maybe that's exactly what they want, somebody that can get elected, but isn't all there, or is not very smart, because if she's not very smart, then somebody else has to make all the decisions, and she can't say anything. She can't make any decisions because she doesn't know anything. And maybe that's what they want. I don't know. Yeah, Tim, that's probably true. I didn't listen to the whole phone call. I don't think it's a photo op. I don't think it's some crazy thing happened with Paul Pelosi. I think some guy broke into their house, some crazy person, and was going to break Nancy's kneecaps with a hammer, and then just to get to make demands on all these things or whatever. But I'm going to have to get off here in a second, guys. I didn't like the weird sheepish grins both Pelosi and the hammer guy had on their faces, or why Pelosi was holding a beverage cup the whole time. Yeah, but he got cracked in the head. It looked like he got cracked in the head. I don't, you do weird things. You get in a weird situation like that. This guy's got something, you're holding your hand on it, trying to keep him from doing something with it. And you're like, hey, man, everything's cool, man. You're trying, like, was it some love affair that went awry? I doubt it. You hear all these kind of things, but it is what it is. And we have every reason to think that way about the things that are happening because of, like I talked about earlier, about the Pfizer video that came out from Project Veritas. Go check that out. And just the amount of things that don't make sense that are being hidden and so on. David Neal, I heard someone say the other day that instead of trying to pull away from the hammer, he should have could towards him, shorten the guys. Yeah, but he was old. I don't know. That's kind of, armchair quarterback stuff. I'm not a fan of either Pelosi, but that dude broke in looking for Nancy, not a love affair. That's what I think too. Yeah, it was a weird presentation of events, Ruby, for sure. Hey, good to see you too, Gil. I appreciate you guys hopping on here with me. Well, I appreciate that, Lisa. And but with that, I'm gonna get off here, and get ready to do little stuff around the house, and then take my family out for our little Sunday afternoon meal we have. Um, but yeah, just know I'll be getting things going again. We'll start getting on a regular basis, but I don't know when that's going to start. But I'm going to try to get that going because we got a real reason to fight. Even though it does look like it's a cliff, that's how uphill it is. It's a cliff we're fighting up. Let's continue, and hopefully we can change some minds and turn this country around one day. We'll see. All right, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Take care. I thank you guys, and I think about you guys a lot. I really do. All right. Happy New Year, guys.